So after taking this for a spin today, I felt my feet were up too far forward, so I just had a look here and there's 3 different settings. So I'm going to put this stud, I'm going to have it coming up through there and that one through there, and that should give me another 2 inches or so. Apart from that, today's run, what did it show up? Brakes are good. Clunking's gone out of the rear axle. Delighted about that. Steering is good. Radiator drain tap, that has been given jip. Seems to be dry, so that's good. Didn't ring the treads. The oil level in the back axle seems to be perfect, so it's always good to bring them for a spin. Probably should use a rag on that, but look, it's not dirty. I only have one hand. Literally perfect, right up to the line. Anything else we noticed today? Started well. The temperature went up, and just as I was heating up for the first time, it touched the red line. Now I was draining and filling, cooling, so I am not surprised now if the level's a bit low. So, and I was airing it. That's not too bad. Probably could take a small drop, but I'm not going to go filling any more antifreeze into it until I make sure that the cooling system isn't leaking. So I'm at my 11/16 socket, trusty 11/16, and see if these lads will move. I've never tried these. Yeah. And this is the deluxe, what's known as the deluxe seat. It was on the live drive tractors, and you get the tractor meter, that's called as well. That's a handy piece of kit. So these are coming. I don't know, is the stud coming with or just the nut? Doesn't really matter. We'll be able to work with either. Okay, that's good. And what's coming here? The stud is coming, so that's no problem. So I'm going to move that. I'll get the tripod in me as well. I'm going to try and show a bit more of me actually doing things rather than recording when things are done. I know this is as simple as pulling these 2 bolts, and I might put it around the other side so I can work this side. I know this is as simple as me literally just pushing the seat forward, but you never know. Maybe the holes don't line up, or maybe there's some other issue. But at least if I'm recording it, people will see. They might be running into the same problem themselves, or the opposite, that the seat's too far back. In which case they'd want to bring it forward. So that's that. And the holes do line up. So it seems anyway. It's a fair bit of weight in this actually. Okay, that's biting. That's biting away. And we are missing, oh no, we're not missing a spring washer there. So I would have put one on it if it needed. This seems to be the original seat. It's not in the best of shape underneath, but the cushion seems to take up but it hides it anyway. Start. And the cushion is very comfortable. Okay, let's make sure that's tight. Okay, let's have a sit up now and see is that any better. Oh yeah, that's a lot better. We upside down. I just have my Crocs on. instead of my boots. I don't really need them, but that is a lot more comfortable now. Whereas before I was sitting up like this and it just wasn't very comfortable. So that's just a small job. I think the Ferguson 20 can be adjusted as well. I'm fairly sure. I think there's only 2 adjustments on it though. Oh, it's under the seat that it is. There's actually 3 holes there. Yeah, so that's pushed right back as well. This is a seat cover that I made out of a coffee bean sack. I was in a coffee shop and I seen these lovely sacks. And I approached the owner and I said, "You're hardly throwing them out." It's kind of like the old grain sacks that would have been filled with hay or straw to make a seat cushion back in the day. So the 2 footboards for the other Ferguson 20 are primed, painted and bolted together, ready to go, because the footboards that's on the other Ferguson 20 in my home place were homemade. So it's just another little tidy up. And one thing I find with these deluxe cushions, what I find is makes them extra comfy, is if you can lift up the cushion a bit, it gives a nice bit of support to the back, to the lower back, and that's not a bad feature now. So just a little job, but one that will make it a little more comfortable. The seam of that is a bit curled up and stuff, so I might take that off and try and reposition it to get that piping, the red piping right all the way around. And every once in a while, what I like to do is take off my earth. This is an original Ferguson 20 battery lead coming from the solenoid to the starter. And I like these, they're soldered. I know this is a bit bare, but because it's earth, it doesn't matter. I moved the earth from down on the steering box, which is an alloy, and there's a gasket between that and this bell housing, to here. I moved it here because it's the pints, it's the dynamo, it's the starter that really need the earth. So because of that, I want it on the engine, I want it on the casting of the engine, and I also prefer a bolt to be going through it. So I picked here. It's not very long lead either, so you're not getting resistance building up. And it's the engine that needs the earth for the ignition and for the charging and all of that. And just so I showed on the dynamo there that the bracket where it touches the block, a lot of people when they're painting up engines and stuff like that, they end up painting the whole bracket both sides, and then they wonder why their charging system doesn't work. Your dynamo needs to get earth through the body, through the brackets, through the bolts. So everything has to be polished up with sandpaper or files, wherever it takes. But I always like to check, at least check your earth lead, because everything electrical and ignition related relies on it. Your pints are earthing, they're actually earthing into the engine and back through this lead. These are lovely brass connectors, so ring connectors, so they really do polish up well. So that's like gold now, that is on that side. So I fitted a nice wide washer onto this when I was fitting the earth. This is an original engine bolt as well, spring washer original on the other side as well, and the nut. So now it's just a matter of checking. If this was bad, the engine wouldn't run well. And of course, the last thing you'd be thinking of many times is checking your earth. It's actually probably the most important connection in any engine is your earth. There's usually nothing to it, only a lead coming from your battery down to your engine. and that's where it should be. It shouldn't be, if you ask me, it should be attached to the engine when it's a spark ignition engine. Not so important when it's diesel. On the Ferguson 20 diesel, what I did was, I have two earths. We've got one earth coming from the back here down to the nice short lead onto one of these bolts on the trumpet housing. But then to carry that earth forward, turn on this light, because we have a gasket there, your earth is relying on running through the bolts and nuts into this, and this is an alloy, so it can only really run past through the bolts. What I did was I took the lead there. This is cast iron, so it's going to conduct that very well, and that lead must actually tie it up a little bit better. Comes up and it goes right to the earth on the starting motor. So when I need good cranking power, I have that. So yeah, I must actually, that's a job. What I might do is I might use that bolt under there and make some sort of connection on that. That'll be a nice job actually. Now that I'm looking at, looks a bit neater. At least it's not getting caught in the brake rod and stuff. I don't know why they're taped. Oh yes, when I had them off I didn't want them twisted. So that's another job that I can actually do. Sit it in there. It looks a little bit tidier. So that's the kind of little jobs that we like doing around here. So I'm going to consult my original brackets and see what would be nice. That's not original, but this is original, and that is original. I might choose one of them. That'd be nice. I'll bring him as well because he's stainless steel, and we'll see which one fits the best. It just my luck, and the lighting isn't the best over here, so I'll try and leave that down there. It'll be just my luck that down the road it'll end up driving over something that will catch this. Let's see if this any good. This is kind of a stainless steel one, so there's water splashing up on it. It shouldn't rust over time. Okay, so I might tighten that up and tighten him up and see how it looks. I can position it better then once it's tightened. With these old vintage vehicles, I find it's good just to give them a checking over, and you'll see little jobs that need to be done, and this is just a small, tiny little job, but it's one that could save me down the road. I just need to get a bigger spanner. Tighten it up a bit more now. I can twist the bracket to whatever way I want it. Keep it out of the way of the brake rod. Now, it's just about tightening up there. So keep it in as far as we can. At the same time, don't want it rubbing on. So that is just a slight improvement on what it was, instead of having it hanging down. So what I'll do is I'll try and tidy up this a little bit as well and get it What I might do is I might put a bolt down through there. It's a drain hole, I think that was meant to be, and that'll line up very well with that. And then we might do a little job on that as well, just to keep things tidy. What I did was, I'm after strapping that at the back there and at the front. So it's running attached to the very back axle. And what I put on this side was a little coach bolt with a Phillips head, so that I can get it off, and it's put plenty of grease on everything there so that it comes off easy. So now it's nice and tidy, and it's not hanging down, because it was hanging down a fair bit. Very, very small job in the grand scheme of things, but one that just will tidy it up that little bit more. Basically on this tractor the only thing left to do is take the gearbox apart if I want. I don't think it needs it. It goes into gear very, very well and stays in gear. An awful lot of work has been done on this tractor, really has. But yeah, so that's just that. Yeah, I suppose even standing back here before I would have seen that wire hanging down. So on the front here for these lights I have a waterproof connection on it, so that when taking off the bonnet I can just literally just disconnect it there, and I continue this tubing up in there because it used to get pinched in there, so I have that continued. It's just, I think it's just fuel line, yeah. So that's nice, waterproofed, and I use some little brackets to route it down behind the dynamo there. So yeah, that's my earth going onto the starter there, yeah. Best place for it. Again, you can see all of the condensation we get here in the winter. It's clinging to everything. So that starter's definitely getting earth. And as we established there, this is definitely getting earth as well. So two little jobs, and the seat as well, of course. Moved back a little bit to the, if I grow any more I'll have to go drilling holes. I don't think I'm going to go growing anymore. So small few little jobs done over the past few days. Anyone who's following the series will see. What the next job will be is any man's guess, or any woman's guess for that matter. What I'm enjoying playing with it, I have to say. I might jack it up and just check the front wheel bearings, maybe. That'd be a nice job, since they were renewed and they were torqued up to a certain spec, we'll say, so it's been used a little bit since then. So we'll see what they're looking like, if there's much free play. Apart from that, we'll just take it as it comes.